All right. So, first of all, before I proceed, I would like to say that Professor Musa Ibino is somebody that is well known to me. He is my senior, my mentor, and benefactor at the same time. Uh, our journey started together in OAU, okay, from different tutorial classes and so on. So he was always there. He's always willing to share whatever he has. So another thing that make me indebted to him is he's the one that actually processed my admission here in Malaysia when he was here. So at that time, I didn't have. I was still in Nigeria, still working in OAU, and then I contacted him, and he tried all his best to ensure that I got the admission. In fact, it was challenging. He had to do whatever it takes before I was admitted. So there are things in life that we never know. Okay, so but as we know in life is whatever you do, it's always come back to you. So I'm really, really grateful to him. Also, when I got to Malaysia eventually, he established what I now refer to as the Ansar Muhajirun model, okay, where anybody that is coming from home, a newcomer, Muhajirun, okay, model, a newcomer from home is paired with somebody who is already here to facilitate, to make life easy for them, and so on. So when I got here, of course, somebody getting to a new place for the first time, it's not really easy for them to settle down. But I was very lucky to be paired with somebody now is Professor Akim Amuda. And I was really mentored, and a lot of benefit came from the pairing and so on. And not to mention all the other things that we do together. He got me a lot of work when I got there to be teaching assistants to so many lecturers in his faculty, to other trainings that I used to conduct. So I've really gained a lot from him, and I like to put that out there so that if people are listening, they know that, okay, this is a mentee talking in front of his mentor. So, but today, I like to share a little bit of my own experience about development of curriculum. So my background is from several areas. First, I did computer science, and my area is in positioning systems, as you have seen. Okay, I equally teach sustainable development here because it's a general course in the whole university. Almost every lecturer will teach the course because every student is enrolled in the course. If you come to IUM as undergraduate student, it's one of the courses you will do in the first semester. And also, I am certified in systematic innovation, 3 systematic innovation. Most of my ideas will come from systematic innovation combined with sustainable development and looking at the future of AI. So, and also certified in curriculum development now. And equally, because I'm the academic advisor in my university, I'm in charge of so many of these things that has to do with student curriculum development, examination, and so on. So this is the background from which I'm coming from. So most of my ideas will be coming from these areas. Okay, the outline that I'll be working with will be to look at the challenges to education in Nigeria, and then look at the challenges generally to education globally, and then look at challenges to education in Nigeria specifically, and also look at some concept in theory of inventive problem solving. And hopefully, I hope the time will permit me to go to the TREES model, which is the one that I'm actually using to redesign curriculum. Okay, I'll just highlight it. I hope that in the future we have a more targeted, like we have more on development itself, implementation itself, so that we can actually look at this together. I look forward to this, and the core of my work, I mean of the work, will be experiential learning. Yes. So what is the first concept in TRIZ is function analysis. Okay. So what is the function of education or good education? Is to make every individual in a society, to make them flourish. Okay. And if individuals in the society, if they flourish, the society itself will thrive. Those are the two. This is from this reference. So we need to prove to be able to come up with, produce or nurture a competent individual to have a functional society. And Professor Emeritus Asma Ismail, who is Emeritus Professor here in IUM, she is the Ibn Sina Chair and President of Academy of Science in Malaysia. She said, this is what you do with education. Examine your society, know its problem, design your education to address them. If your education is not actually solving the problem you see in your environment, then your education is not functional. And discussing with a lot of my mentors at home, Professor Musa also included, we know that currently we are facing these challenges. Our education is not functional, and it is time that we need to put a lot of effort into redesigning the curriculum. For Malaysia, they look at this model. She is the chair of the committee that work on this model. About 1,000 experts work on it. So if you want to look at it, you can check here. What do they do basically? They look at the problem of Malaysia. They look at what is going to happen in the next 20, 30 years. What are the technology that will enable them? And then they try to map 10 core areas with 10 enablers. Okay, so what are the technology that they need to focus, and what are the areas they need to take very seriously? So globally and also in Nigeria, what is the problem of education? Problem of education anywhere in the world will be divided into three. Access to the education, okay, access to education, and then quality is the second one, and relevance is the third one. Access means that based on enrollment, how many people were supposed to be enrolled and how many are actually enrolled. And we know we have a lot of out-of-school children, out of school. Even the university is so competitive that year in, year out, people write JAMB 2, 3, 4 times before they get admission. This is not the case here, for instance, in Malaysia. If you are going to the university, if you get to any class, Prof Musa can be a witness. If you get to any class, year 1, year 2, year 3, you know their age because there is no stoppage between in their progression. But that is not the case in Nigeria. We do JAMB 2, 3, 4 times before we get into the university. And because of that, we waste a lot of time. Secondly, well taught is are the courses well taught, actually? That is another thing. Do we really know? Most of the time, it's just read, pass, and get out of the system. So the third one is relevance. Is it relevant to the industry? Are the industry really passionate about our student? Or they complain a lot about the student? So these are the three areas that we have. So in this report by Brookings Institute, they said that it will take Africa, Nigeria included, 120 years before they can catch up with the rest of the world if they address these three problems. Okay, if they don't, it means the year will be longer than that. But we have seen so many countries like Singapore, like China, like Hong Kong, like South Korea, like Malaysia here, who actually did something different. And within a short period, they were actually able to catch up. So this is the thing. So what is for us to understand the challenges ahead, what do we know about the future of institutions, the future of everyone? What is going to happen next? We will see so many things, okay? One is digital learning, okay? We know that now we sit in class, we have a lot of students, lecturer is in front, sweating, talking to them. But when it is augmented, it means that if you go digital learning, it means that every student can have one-on-one interaction with the lecturer. But once you augment it, they can actually interact with the lecturer more in a way that's okay. So I foresee these are some of the things I foresee. Standardized online content. We can have a single university in the whole of Nigeria where all the contents are already created, the exam are already created, and the case studies that you can store and they can do will be created. So the other universities will just be maybe certification centers, maybe R&D centers, and so on. So that is kind of a picture that we can see in front of us. Okay, so there are so many things that we can actually combine to that. So R&D, certification center, inclusive open education. So here you can pick if you want to do. Let's say you want to study something, microeconomics. You don't need to go to OAU or you go to UI to do that course. You can just enroll in any university in Nigeria and pick it and add it to your transcript and so on. And the future of job is also changing. One is some will be extremely globalized and some will be localized at the same time. So globalized means that we're going to compete with the rest of the people in the world for a lot of jobs. It's already ongoing. There are some jobs that you can get online, virtual jobs that can make you 1 million in a month. I'm not kidding. It's true. And most of these jobs are AI jobs. So if your area is in those areas, it could also be quality assurance and so on, but the jobs are already available. So you can work as virtual, home-based, then you may not actually get a job that will put you in permanent position for 8 hours a day. You go in the morning and come in the night. They can, most of the time, most likely it will be on project by project basis. You finish the project, you move on to another company or another job that you have. And then freelance, there will be a lot of it. So these are the things, some of the things that I see based on experience and so on, that most likely is going to be the future. And all of us will be with that too. So, okay, so maybe if there is time, maybe I will come back to that. Okay, so the message here, the first time I saw it, I was really angry with myself, like, because I'm a lecturer, and but after reading it over and over, I think there's a lot of truth there. We are the students of today attending the schools of yesterday, being taught by the teachers of the past with methods from the Middle Ages to solve the problem of the future. So as you can see, it's like an irony. It's like, I thought it was an exaggeration, but when I look at it closely, I think to a large extent, the content is true. As you can see, most of the time when students graduate from the university, they need to jump to get to the industry. There is a divide between the university and the industry, such that the student coming from the university need to be retrained, need to be equipped with so many other skills before they can work functionally. And not everybody is able to do this. Only successful ones will be able to jump to the industry. Many people will be left behind. Some will just be confused, standing there. Some will even reject their education and do something else. We heard recently of a guy who went back to his university and returned his certificate and wanted to claim back the school fee. We know about all these things because the education is not necessarily functional. So many students will try to do this one. Most of us, when we graduate, that is why we start to figure out what we can do with our lives. And I think it's not, that should not be the case. So developing the proper curriculum is the best way to provide a bridge between the university and the industry. Okay, but the curriculum is now the problem. Most of our curriculum came from the West, and because we followed them, we followed their pattern too. Some of them some of the curriculum we didn't copy properly, and then it is a problem. So the main problem is actually our environment. The environment that we have is not the same as what operates in the West. They have a lot of support system to ensure that a student in the university is eventually make up for any skills that they lack. Okay, but in our own case, we don't have the support system. Even when we go for internship and so on, the internship, the quality of the place we work, many students will just end up photocopying and so on. So that is not the right thing to do. That is why when people get out and you ask them the skills that they have, this is usually the case. I see you did well in school, but what real world skills do you have? He said, I can take tests. Test is what I'm good at. So because our education is, you go to class, you read, you pass, you get out. Okay. I used to have a friend during my undergraduate. He was running filling stations. Okay. So he would never be in school. Few days to the exam, 1 week to the exam, he will come all the way. I mean, he will come from Lagos and then look for the good student who used to have very good notes, and then take their notes and go to Old Booker and then photocopy, and then hide himself somewhere and read. And he used to beat a lot of people, even because he just came only 1 week. And immediately after the exam, he will just go back. So if the school is run like that, it means it's only for exam. We have seen lecturers too who doesn't come to class until a few days to the exam, just give something to the student, and then they just they read, and then that's all, they pass. And that is the end of that course. So the way the system is run is really a challenge. And so we need to, it's very crucial that we start to look at what we have to do. So we have to engage the students, involve them, and retrain them in other ways. So I'll be talking about it. Now, to also re-emphasize the challenges ahead of us, the whole world is looking at something like, okay, we are going in this direction. Low carbon society, green society, and so on. But for African countries, developing countries, we are still like this. So if the prediction that they gave is correct, we'll be moving like this. By 2050, we'll still be on the way, and they will be arriving here, and maybe 100 years later, we'll be here. Okay, because we are far behind in the race, and they are already in front. So for us to, if we are running this race and we want to get to the same spot here, we have to run faster. We have to do things faster, and we have to do things differently. So this is what I'll be talking about. So the first aspect, which I mentioned first in my area of interest, is future literacy. We need to include for all our students to know about, to have foresight. If we don't have future literacy, we'll not be able to design most of the things that is coming. We need to be able to know the possible scenarios in the future, what is probable, okay, but what is preferred. We work for this one. Otherwise, we'll just continue to go, and then everything will happen. That's what is going to happen. And from Islamic point of view, as Muslims, in Surah Yasin, Allah actually told us, be mindful of your insights, okay? Insights, the spelling, I forgot the spelling now. And then have foresight too. You have foresight for the future, and then you have insight for behind you. Okay, so we need to know our history, but this one is not even known to us. People looking at us, they study us more than we study ourselves, because we have so many things to worry about. Okay, so for me to to show in concrete terms what the rest of the world are thinking, I would like to share two videos with us. Okay, so I hope that I can share. Let me see if I can share it.
"2035, a future created by Adri. What do you dream the world?"
Now let me stop sharing the first one and then share this one. Oh.
Okay, while we are waiting for our speakers, let us just have a little interaction with Fatima Bashir. Fatima, the speaker said something about, I say you did well in school, but what real world skill do you have? Can you tell us the skills that you have?
I have skills on drone technology, then I have skills on clean energy, I have skills on soft skills too. And I'm currently working on a project of liver disease identification.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you tell us where you learned all these skills?
I learned all these skills from this school, Summit University of
Okay, the speaker is back online. Sir, you can have the floor.
Thank you. So sorry for the break. Can you see my screen? Hello?
No, sir.
Really? Okay, that's fine. Can you see it?
Can you see it? Now we are seeing.
Please, can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
To be like in 2035. A world that is more convenient and safer, enables to live a healthier and happier life, and fully unleashes one's dreams is a future that we all dream of. Let us glance at a day in the future, a day in 2035, which will be created by Adri. Another busy day in the city begins. The apple mango becomes popular these days, so the farm is very busy in growing them now. Here, another order has come in. The AI controls the environmental conditions of the farm to increase the production volume to accommodate the new order. Smart Farm protects crops from various pests and diseases. It also responds to sudden climate changes autonomously for producing the best crops that are always tasty. The autonomous factory receives the order of various apple mango products from the Smart Farm. It quickly sets up a customized process from manufacturing to packaging according to the type of products. It operates smoothly and autonomously. In addition, the autonomous factory is able to design and make products upon custom.
And I'm one of the 30 AI voices from SpeechNow. You listened to this video until now and you
customer requirements without human intervention. It maximizes the efficiency by simultaneously manufacturing multiple kinds of products in the same facility. In 2035, Energy Maestro produces and trades eco-friendly energy autonomously by predicting the energy supply and demand of a city. Hence, the city becomes energy independent and the carbon neutrality will be achieved. Today, the smart farmer visits his son, who works for the military. The farmer made an appointment in advance. However, it seems that the military operations meeting is getting longer. The AI military staff is a great advisor. It helps military commanders build strategy and tactics so that the commanders improve their combat power with military simulations and respond quickly to emergency situations. When the farmer meets his son, his parent is getting medical treatment in hospital. Is the farmer worried about not being able to be with her? I don't think so. The farmer can attend his mother's treatment site online easily if he wants. Now, his mother is getting treatment from AI doctors around the world through the global AI collaboration system called Medical AI Hub. The Medical AI Hub analyzes similar cases and clinical results scattered worldwide to find the best treatment for his mother. The developments in information and communications technology will facilitate a more convenient and happier life. Let's make the future we all dream of together with Athri. Human-oriented ICT will promote the love for humans.
All right, so sorry for the technical issue there. So let me get back to and be faster now because I think the time is not on my side. Okay, so if you don't, I mean, generally when you think about foresight, if you don't think about your future, others will think about it for you. If you look at 2035 that the video was referring to, it's just 13 years away. It's not a distance that is very far. Okay, just 13 years, 3 graduates, 3 sets of graduates, full graduates. That is what we are talking about. And then they said that currently our contribution to global economy is just 3%. Okay, but by 2035, when our population will have increased to 20% of the global population, our productivity will just increase by 1% only. So they are already forecasting our life and everything, and that is why foresight is very important. So quickly, what do we know about access to education in Nigeria? Number one, first, we need to know about our population. During independence, our population is roughly 45 million. As you can see, and it continued to rapidly increase. This is the time, around this time is when Gowon was the president. He said that we have a lot of money, but I think he should have looked at what the population is talking about. Within a span of 60 years, our population is around 200 from 45. Okay, so from 45 we are 200. Now we are saying it's around 211, and before you know it, by 2050 it's going to double. The population is 200 now, it's going to double by then. I attended a conference recently, and all the countries, because they are developed countries, we're talking about population decline. We're talking about aging population, but that is the opposite for Nigeria. We have the population and it's exploding. So as you can see, 0 to 14 years of age are people that we feed. Unfortunately, even in Nigeria, we still feed up to 30 years because before people get into the university due to JAMB, they spend 2-3 years and then they get to the university at 24, 25, and then they graduate at 27, 29, and then they start looking for a job. They may not get a job until 35. So they still continue to be dependent on the system, on their parents. So it will have been nice if we are able to make people to be productive early. We are so lucky, at least, that we have youthful population. Almost all the total percentage of people below 64 is around 90, 97. And so roughly, God Almighty has been very merciful to us. We have good population. We have youthful people, but unfortunately, the opposite of that is that our elderly people die faster because the life expectancy is around 60 years, 59 for males and 61 to 63 for female. As you can see, the population is really growing. In fact, in the next 80 years, by 2100, okay, our population will be going to 1 billion, 800 million to be precise. As you can see, Nigeria will be the third most populous country in the world. But what about our productivity? As you can see, I saw this data and I was really amazed. About 30%, 30 million students goes to primary school, okay, and only 7 million roughly gets to secondary school, and about 2 million in the university. That is what we have. And for postgraduate school, you can see that the number is very small. So when you talk about access, that is a huge challenge. From 30 to 7 to 2, you see, greater percentage of people are just dropping off from. And every year we have over 2 million people sitting for JAMB, not to talk of people from direct entry or pre-degree. For JAMB, we have this number. And the total population of students in the university regularly, all our universities altogether is around 2 million. So in a year, we have 2.2 million students writing exam. And then we have total population of students in the university is also 2 million. As you can see, the access problem is there. Let me move faster. We have a lot of universities. We have number of universities in Nigeria, 170 is not enough. In different countries, we have a lot of universities. If you compare with Indonesia, you compare with US, you compare with Pakistan, you compare with India, you will see that the number of universities that we have is really low. I don't want to go into the detail of their data. Even though we have more private universities, the number of students in the private university is far, far lower than even in the public university. So this is the public university, as you can see. But if you consider the total population, you'll be surprised to see that the number of students in National Open University is like half of, okay, so it's not up to half, but it's like half of, a third of all the students in our university goes to National Open University, online university. So that is to tell us. And if we continue at the rate of 2 million students in 5 years, plus NYSC, that would be 6 years, 2 million students. By year 2050, our population will have increased by 200 million, okay? By 200 million plus, double now. And the total number will have trained by then will just be around 12 million. You can see we are going to have another 198 million people. Some will be eligible to go to school, some will still be younger. So this is the total population of generally roughly in all our universities. Obafemi Awolowo University is 29, University of Lagos is the highest, is 59. But National Open University is up there with around 500,000 students. As you can see, we have massive population, no spaces in the university. That is our access question, okay? As you, we have seen a lot of highly placed people have said a lot about the education. So, but I will just bring, Bill Gates said it in 2018. Oshibajo also mentioned it recently, like our population is increasing more than any job creation capacity. So that is telling us that we really need to do things differently. And if you look at the total population of people that are unemployed, and the rate of unemployment in Nigeria is one of the highest in the world, 33 to 35%, meaning a third, or yes, like a third of our population is not is idle, is not gainfully employed. And you can see the president himself too is talking about population management, family planning in 2022, when other countries all over the world are talking about population decline. They are paying people to give birth to children. China started one-child policy. When they noticed that they are going to be in trouble, they changed it to 2. Within 2-3 years, they changed it to 3-child policy, meaning that you can only have 1 child before. They now said, okay, we allow you to have 2 now because our population is declining. China is 1.6 billion. And then they started to discuss about, okay, let's increase it to 3. So many countries are giving incentive to their population to have more children. However, to be true, in support of the president, he has been calling for curriculum review almost all the time, from 2018 to 2020 to 2022. Please review curriculum so that people can be employed. So that is telling us that the curriculum is actually having challenges. Now, if we look at 2035 or we look at 2050, what do we think we will need? Even now, what do we need? We need a lot of food. This is where our curriculum should focus. Okay, we need affordable housing, we need power, efficient, sustainable energy, we need health care, precision medicine, we need a lot of things. However, all this is anchored on decoding the problem with education. If we can solve educational problem, we'll be able to address all of them. Because when you have quality manpower, quality citizen, that is when you can actually achieve this. Okay, so if we are able to address this, then the giant will wake up. Otherwise, since we're young, we have been hearing that Nigeria is a giant, the giant of Africa, it has a lot of potential, but the potential, we have never seen it. But our population, if it is not handled properly, is a problem, is a huge problem. But if we use it the right way, it's an asset. Because when they look at countries that can replace US, they pick China. They say China has about 1.8 billion people. If they work only, if an average Chinese is 1/4 hardworking, 1/4 of an average citizen, an average US citizen, then China will overtake them. And currently, Chinese people are even more than 1/4. Even sometimes they are extremely hardworking. That is what to say. They also pick India. India has about 1 point. They said if they work half times, the total productivity will be more than the US. So if Nigeria has this population, our population is 200. US is around 390 roughly. Okay, so if we want to beat the US, what is the population is going to be like? We need to work like ×2 of an average US citizen. If we really want, not beat, but actually move forward. So the idea of leapfrogging, which I talked about, from everything I said previously, you will see that there should be a sense of urgency. We should move faster. We should change faster. We should think faster, sacrifice faster, dedicate faster, cooperate faster, forgive each other faster, and be more creative. Everything that should be done, think smarter, innovate better. Everything we want to do must be done. Taking everything that we can take from anywhere in the world, but doing it in a very rapid version and doing it differently. So this is very crucial to this, but it's difficult to do, because even though you have the potential, you have nature, the nurture is our major problem. Okay, because the potentials are there. We have schools all around the world Nigerians will be in some award ceremony in universities. You will see Nigerians collecting almost all the awards there. So we have the potential, we have the talent, but the nurture is actually the problem. And once the environment is complicated, the environment is not enabling, what is going to happen is that poverty is going to be a problem. And poverty will actually increase stupidity factors, that people will do a lot of bad things in that society because they are poor. Their choices will be wrong choices, and that will also affect their attitude. And once it goes down, it's always going to come up. So attitude will increase their stupidity, and poverty will also increase. That is what we have been dealing with. Okay, I used to listen to this gentleman. Is an author who wrote Outliers. Why don't we capitalize on all our potentials? So the main problem is that we don't have the right environment. We just struggle to escape from the system. So he also talked about David and Goliath, which is an interesting scenario. He was talking about how small, kind of underrated people can actually beat giants. So it talks about a lot of things. I don't think I have much time. I will not be able to go into this one. So quickly, I will talk about psychological inertia, which is a process in trees that we actually use to solve problems. I've talked about foresight, future literacy. So I mentioned Yakub Gowon now. When we had a lot of money, they should have planned ahead for us. If they had foresight, if they know about the future, I mean very well. So generally, that is what we have. So this has been repeated, of course, for religious people. We know about Joseph, or you call him Yusuf. We know about him. He always talk about, even though it was a dream, but it is permanent. Whenever you have in surplus, plan against the time you have in deficit. So this is a general rule in life. Also, the general problem that plague us more is actually the crab mentality, where we pull each other down. The crab is sold without covering them. Why? Because they cannot escape. If you put only one, it will climb out. But if you put many, they will always break the leg of the ones that tries to climb out. So you are not going anywhere. We are in this together. That is the way it is. However, there is the turtle mentality, which actually help to support one another to get out. So this is the model that we should be working with. And we had it before in our society. We had this in the society before, because almost everything we do it collectively. We collaborate. You come to my farm today. We work together in my farm. We solve all my problems. Then we go to yours tomorrow, and to the other person the day after. So that mindset is the sustainable mindset that we should adopt. And we know this one even from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that talks about the double-deck people. When you have others that are doing the right thing, others are not doing the right thing, you don't collaborate to stop them, there will be disaster. Also, the more we continue, like I talked about the problem of the future, all the people in all the countries in the world, when they talk about Africa, they see Africa as product. They see it as a land of resources that they need to take, whether by whichever means. They see us as commodity, a place where they can sell their product. That is what they see about us. If you apply for visa to different countries, you see how they will treat you. Why? Because unto those who have, more shall be given. It's a general principle in life. Our image, our productivity, our contribution to the world. If you have more money, Saudi, for instance, is a very unique example. When 9/11 happened, out of 19 hijackers, allegedly, okay, like 15 of them were from Saudi. And today, if Saudi need visa to go to the US, they don't apply like Nigerians. No, because they have money. So if you have, you will get more. If you want to get loan from bank right now, if Dangote goes there and you goes there, you go there, he will get it, you won't. So because what you have determine what you continue to have. So that is, we have a lot of resources, but we may not know how to use it. So my time is up. Okay, so let me quickly talk about trees, and then I will stop. So the basic hypothesis in trees is that when you want to solve problem, you have to think about psychological inertia. Psychological inertia means that you avoid the mindset that is already fixed, and you start to think not outside the box, but start to believe that there are other ways of doing something you have been doing so far. So if you don't, you will not be able to solve it. It's like you are going to be stuck with, we have taken so many parts, that you have done so many things, you have, in a way that eventually you will realize that I could have done it better if I have thought in another way. So that is psychological inertia. So many times we have done this. Even you have solved a problem before, that you realize you could have done it in another way. So that is the first one. Second one, which I would like to emphasize, is ideality. Ideal situation is what we work towards. If you want to solve a problem, the first hypothesis in trees is that that problem has been solved before. Something like that has been solved before somewhere. Okay, your creativity is to go and look at the solution that is already existing and adapt it in the best way for your own. Another one is contradiction. Contradiction is always existing when you have two factors. One is improving, one is causing more problem. So most of the time we go for trade-off and so on. But in trees, we try to remove the contradiction. The founders of trees and everybody that has been working on trees, they have about 40 inventive solutions for contradiction. It's a template. Sometimes we use universality, sometimes we use segmentation, we use the other way around, and so on. So many approaches, but there are about 40 that we use. And then we have resources. Resources, I don't like this picture. I always say it anytime I get to this picture. Why? Because they put a black person there, and they in almost trees presentation, they will put this black person with water there. If I want to present to non-black people, I will put a different picture. But because I'm presenting to us, I want us to know how they view us. They view us as people who have a lot of resources but doesn't know how to use it. Okay, so system approach means that any problem, if you look around it closely, you will find the solution. So the solution might be existing, you may not be looking at it. That is what that is all about. So I will just quickly, when you talk about resources, there are a lot of resources. I pick for instance, a university, the first resources is actually students. Okay, then we have the staff and so on. So we have image of the university, we have anything around them, anything globally could also be resources if we know how to tap it. So there's so many things around us that we can actually tap. We'll be talking about this later. So from my analysis, okay, I talked about ideality just now. I was asking myself, do we have a program? I want to redesign the curriculum. That is my main aim of actually thinking about this. I was asking myself, if I want to go by ideal method says that the best curriculum is already existing. You just need to find it. Okay, so what is the curriculum that can guarantee that it is ideal? Means that it is good, it's all positive and no negative, completely efficient system. That is the ideal. Can we find a curriculum like that, whether in Nigeria or whether abroad? Okay, so my interpretation of the ideal system is that, can we find a system that can produce graduates to be 95%? Any of the graduates will be 95% confident, whether they go into private practice or they are employed. They should be competent based on their training. Okay, so when I did that, okay, I cannot go too much into this, when I did that, I pick law, I pick economics, I pick a lot of models. So the one that I eventually settled for is the medical school. So I now ask myself, so if you use the ideal system and you analyze how many minutes more, sorry, how many minutes? Okay, I'm not sure whether Prof is there. Oh, this is Wale Adedeji. All right, so I think my time is up, but let me just conclude here. So my analysis is we can actually design the ideal system to mirror the medical school. And I will give you an example. I'm from computer science background. Prof. Musa Ibini is from electrical electronics and mechatronics eventually. Wale Adedeji is my colleague in OAU, is from computer science. So whenever I meet computer science, my own people, I ask them, out of 100 students that graduate from your university in a year, how many of them can program very well? Expert programmers, how many of them that you can guarantee? We cannot. Only maybe we'll have average programmers, around 2, 3, 4, 5 people that you can remember their names. The rest we know a lot about so many things, and they will not be really good at anything. That is the kind of program that we have. I now ask myself, can we mirror the medical school? Because medical school is obvious. You start with theory, year 1, year 2, you do anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry. From year 3 on, you work every day. So can you make computer science students to program every day till they graduate? And you now ask me whether they will not be good, whether they will need to look for a job. They don't, because people will be looking for them. So the model, I think, is very clear to us. I arrive at this using the ideal system, okay? I arrive at this using the ideal system, but the system is already existing. So, and I look at other faculties. For instance, we have the Faculty of Agric. Faculty of Agric was supposed to be exactly like the medical school, but we messed it up. That is what happened. Okay, we messed it up. So if we had done the same thing with the medical school, we would have been fine. We would have been able to provide a lot of food. If we put the effort that we put into medical school, if we put the same effort into Faculty of Agriculture all around Nigeria, and we do the same thing with computer science, we will be able to move forward. So because my time is up, I will not be able to go further on this. There's so many things to analyze and so on, but I believe there will be time later we will be discussing on this. I'm very sorry for taking time a little more than was allotted to me. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and over to you, the moderator.
Thank you very much, sir, for the wonderful presentation. So it was really interesting and wonderful. Okay, please, if you have any question, we can either signify by using the raise hand icon or type our questions using the chat box. Thank you.
Ogawale, you're most welcome. Any questions or comment or contribution is fine. It doesn't have to be questions.
Okay, Fatima, can you talk about your school curriculum?
Two people are raising up their hand. My prof is also here.
Can you tell us if the system is ideal enough?
I can't hear you. Please repeat the question.
Before that, Mr. Adeoludina, over to you, sir.
Okay. Okay. Okay, there's so many people here.
Yeah, good morning. Am I on?
Yes, you are on.
Yeah, I want to thank you for your presentation. My name is Adeoludina. I joined in just about 10 minutes ago.
Okay.
I wish I did that right from the beginning. Well, I'd like to say something which we must seriously advocate for. Looking at the curriculum of universities, it is obvious that there is a gap between where we are going as a nation, or where we want to go as a nation, and what that curriculum is all about for most of the programs across universities. Most of them, like you rightly said, excuse me, like you rightly said, a computer science graduate that comes out of the university is not a specialist at anything. He is good at what he knows a lot about everything, and is not an expert in anything, and that is a problem. And the main focus of my contribution this morning is that there must be a collective vision. Where is the country going itself? It is when you have a vision of a country where you want to go, then everything cascades down to the different units, including the university system. What do you want of transportation? What do you want of medicine? What do you want of this? So that at the end of the day, it's a system that takes you to your destination. And that's what China did. They sent their people abroad, brought them back home. Now we see what China is doing. And it is a big gap, a huge gap, perhaps largely influenced by the fact that most of the people at the center, that is presidents, head of state that have ruled us, never passed through university. And so they cannot appreciate the role of university education in nation building. So my thought is that two things we must do. We must rightly advocate for a strategic vision for the country. Two, and let it cascade down to education. Then they will get to understand and appreciate what role the university system is playing. It's beyond teaching. Then the second one is that we need to look at our curriculum. And, unfortunately, it is the senior ones that are involved in this thing at the NUC. We need to look at it seriously, vis-a-vis my earlier statement. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the contribution. You are right. We don't have much time today, and I hope that we'll meet again. I've been working on, currently, because I'm in Malaysia, they are focused on future-ready curriculum now. So for the next 3 years, 4, 5 years, the focus is about how to develop their curriculum to meet the challenges of the next few years. There's so many things to share, but I think, this is a starting point, and we can take the discussion further. If I will say, because now I'm just talking about trees. I've not even done much about trees, and then I'm going to talk about sustainable development. I already talked about future literacy, and then the curriculum itself, how to zoom in into the curriculum. Tree means in trees, we mean to remove what should not be there, okay? And emphasize what should be there. Okay, how to classify knowledge, okay? How to really, because what you feed to your people is what they will become. If you don't give good food to your children, that is how they will grow up. So if you want them to grow the right way, you have to give them the right thing to. So what you are used to is what you will do. And another thing is we need to do things differently from the West, from the developed countries. Why? Because they have environment to nurture their students. We don't have the environment. So our curriculum must be more detailed than their curriculum. Otherwise, we'll not be able to make up for the deficit. So thank you very much for your contribution. There are a lot of hands here. So who do I call it? The moderator, please take over. Moderator, are you still there?
This is Barakat Raji. Back to you, ma.
Okay. Okay, the email that is easy. Okay. Email is
Mr. Abdulwasi Abdulhamid, you can go next, sir.
Okay. Dr. Abdulwasi.
Yeah, okay. I hope you can hear me now, right?
Back to you, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
All right,
Yes.
thank you very much. Sorry, I forgot to unmute my microphone. I want to give a kudos to my associate Prof.
My sister.
who happens to be working in my own university too. That's where I bagged my own PhD at IIUM. So I'm so happy to meet you. And I just want to make a request, sir. I have a daughter working on artificial intelligence at Toronto, Canada, and I would like collaboration between you and her, please. So I forwarded I will forward my email so that you can private chat me, sir. Thank you very much. You have really spoken very well. May we have a good and visionary leaders in Nigeria. We have all what we take. You can see how they have debased our academicians, all because they are agitating for improvement in education. So it's very, very unfortunate. I hope by the time we continue to clamoring on this and until God answers our prayer, and I'm very sure and I'm optimistic that we shall get there among all of us, especially those of us that have gone out to bring knowledge. I know by the time we all come together, we shall overpower them and Nigeria will be able to move forward. Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khairan. Jazakumullah khairan. Jazaha.
Actually, thank you very much, ma. I really appreciate your words of encouragement. Professor Musa Ebino has been doing a lot of work, and of course, I follow him all around, from OAU to Malaysia and also all around. So that was why we initiated this forum. Okay, let's start.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. So yeah,
good morning,
what I was saying is that we hope that we can start with our own, wherever we have the capacity. Okay, if we have control over a small space, let's try something. Let's show an example what we can do differently. That is
good. Okay, sir. Good morning, sir.
Okay, morning. Please go ahead. Please go ahead. But you mute yourself again.
No, let me say, maybe it's the distance. I'm very happy to be in this forum today. It was a nice one, and I'm a parent of one of the students at MSM University, and also I'm also a teacher in the secondary school presently, hoping to join the Polytechnic very soon. I want to ask: is it possible for the university to start maybe to introduce their own course on their own? Going in this line of futuristic thinking. Even without the approval of the Nigerian University Commission. That is my own question, sir. Thank you.
I hope Prof is here to answer the question. What I think generally is we can, because the Summit University is a faith-based university, right? So we can inject some things into the curriculum without having conflict with the higher authority. However, Prof Musa is already in charge, so he will be able to tell us more, if he's around, to tell us more about how far we can go. We can overhaul the system if it's possible. It's possible to do that, we can. But, we strive to the point that we have control. I think that's what we can do. So we look at for example, if you pick computer science, which is my field, if you pick computer science and you want to develop a curriculum that will make your student to program from day one that they get admitted to your university till they graduate, nobody's going to arrest you for that. I don't think anybody will arrest you. You just need to have the curriculum. It could be extra. It could be something something that you modify your existing curriculum to allow for those ones. I think there's so many things we can actually augment to make it better. I promise here, so I think you will be able to shed more light on that.
Yeah, let me use this opportunity to actually say, I think the issue is not about our curriculum. Let me also tell us that NUC, as a matter of policy, allows every university, and it's a must-have, that every 5 years you must update your curriculum. you must address it. You must put new things. But to me, the problem is basically in two folds. Those who are implementing the curriculum and those who are consuming the curriculum, that is, lecturers and students. Lecturers in what sense? Curriculum will not come with hard rule and say this is what you must explicitly teach. E.g., curriculum will allow for teaching the latest technology in software, or let's assume latest programming software. That's what the curriculum will actually say. But as a lecturer now, I need to implement that, and I've not really upskilled myself. Instead of me to start talking about Python and less, I will rather go and teach the Fortran that I know. And so that's all. Maybe after Fortran, and I know about Basic, I will teach those two languages. So, and at the end of the day, you will be blaming NUC or the university. No. And what of the other problem has to do with those who are consuming that curriculum, students. How many of us, whenever we are going for our classes or tutorial, how many of us even has an idea of what we are expected to be taught, the learning outcome before going? How many of us are actually prepared or understand what is called pre-class reading? Most of us, we just go to class that most of us never bother to know what we are even expected, or the learning outcome or expected outcome before attending such a class. Ask most of our students that this particular course, do you have the course synopsis? You will find out that most of them never bothered to even ask for the course synopsis. Even some of them that has the student handbook with all the synopsis, they never bothered to ask on a weekly basis, what are you going to teach us for the next 14 weeks? Week 1, what are you going to teach? Week 2. So it's not the curriculum, but two people, they should be that are responsible for that are the lecturers, the implementers, and the consumers, which are the what? Students and the parents. So until those two people decide to change, then the curriculum will not actually give us the required output. That's number one. Despite that, you will all agree with me that our products are actually not doing bad around the world, because when we normally give them the basic they need, but that doesn't mean there is no room for improvement. And let me also inform you that NUC is now coming up with a new set of curriculum or curricula where each university will be responsible for 30% of the content of that particular of their curricula, so that you can infuse what you want your university to be known for in it. Let's look at it. Whenever we mention MIT, we know what comes to our mind, that this is university for so-so. And when you mention Oxford, when you mention Harvard, are we doing the same thing in Nigeria? Most of us are just doing everything without, and the founding fathers of the country, or those who came up with our learning or educational system, had very good vision. But most of us that are implementing it, I think we need to have a rethink. So that's what I will talk about curriculum. And then in some of our universities, we are trying to have a different perspective. Like on the screen now, you are seeing what is called experiential learning. Experiential learning. That's another thing we are also introducing here in Nigeria or at Summit University. You could observe that the moderator, Raimat, invited another speaker, and she asked her about the skills acquired and the rest. So that's part of what we are trying to actually change. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Prof. Uh, Actually, I agree with you. If any curriculum, no matter how beautiful it is, if it's not implemented properly, especially from those two stakeholders, then there will be a problem. But I think because of the challenges that we foresee ahead, because of our explosive population, our productivity must necessarily increase. It's going to be a huge burden as we go, because from AI perspective, if we are thinking of being inclusive, I mean included in the scheme of things eventually, then we need to really do things differently. It's going to take a lot, but I believe that it's doable. So even though we have the curriculum that are there, we need to really inject a lot of things to fast track or leapfrog, as the case may be, some of these things. So I really agree with you. And I know definitely you are doing a lot of creative things. I've been following Summit University since you got there, even before then. So I know that you have what it takes, and may Allah continue to guide you. So whatever is possible from our end, we should be ready to support all the universities in Nigeria. My dream is that we transform together. So one of the key things that that I think we should do is not to. I think even if the students don't know the course outline, the synopsis of the course, it is not really their fault. It is actually based on what you said, the first stakeholder, the lecturers. It is supposed to be emphasized. This course is this. These are the course outline, and this is the textbook, and this is what you are required to do. We have to scaffold the content of the course to them. So some students may not care, some may be nonchalant about it, but if it's the general norm that it is known. I schooled in Nigeria in one of the best universities, and I don't think I know any course outline throughout I graduated, because it was not a culture to inform the student. And we don't ask too much questions. We don't even know that we are supposed to know sometimes until we graduate. We just go to class and they give us textbook and then we just read. So when you talk about experiential learning just now, it means that it is not even about the course outline. It means about the work that needs to be done in the class. And majority of the burden actually is on the footstep of the educators. And I hope that knowing this, you rightly pointed out that most people are afraid that they may not have the skill to actually take to do the right thing. But despite that, if we are considering experiential learning, for instance, or flipped classroom, for instance, the lecturer should not be afraid. The lecturer should not be afraid, because most of the time the student will discover the knowledge by themselves if we are teaching them that way. And we learn together, because the educator of this century is not someone who spoon feeds students. Is someone who learns with the student himself. That is the paradigm. So if we view it in this area, I think we might have some headway. The lecturers, this is when for instance, okay, even in Malaysia here, when they asked us to start online teaching, many lecturers were afraid, like they were going to be exposed, like everything I teach in the confine of my classroom is going to be in the public place. But we have done it for 2-3 years now, non-stop, and we are fine. So I want to believe that this is just to encourage the lecturers that first, you are not supposed to know everything, and you learn with your student. So if, for instance, I've been teaching Fortran, and now I have to teach Python, then you are using flipped classroom, you are using experiential learning, you are not even teaching the students, you are actually learning together with the student. This is the paradigm. If we adopt that, then we'll be able to make headway, in my humble opinion. So I hope that all the lecturers that are here, they are listening, and they know that Now the paradigm is not lecturer spoon-feeding students. It's actually co-development, co-learn, co-everything. We develop together, we share experience together. The student will discover a lot of things by themselves if we free them. Many students don't know where to go because we don't free them. They are stuck with us, focusing only on us because that is what we tell them to do. So we really need to allow them to nurture them to blossom. So this is my humble perspective. I think we still have a lot of people raising up. Dr. Buasi, you want to say something?
Yes, I was about to talk, and
okay.
I think, can you hear me now, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you very much for the presentation. It is very, very, it is an eye-opening, actually. So I just want to, part of what I wanted to say has been discussed already, but I want to take it from the submission of Professor Musa. So, and then you mentioned it as well, that the lecturers are the ones that are not well equipped enough. So I think since we've gotten that area, as in that is a kind of, the solution is half solved already. So what I think that we can do is to make it compulsory, particularly if it is not possible to be implemented in public university. Training and retraining lecturers on using these new technologies for teaching is very, very important. So training and retraining lecturers. So if we're able to train lecturers successfully on how to implement all those new methods of teaching, like experiential learning that you mentioned last time, flipping classroom. And so there are so many other ways of delivering delivering lectures, and students will always get what they need to get from the lecturers. So if the system is designed in a way that the lecturers are always available for training, so I believe this will go a long way to impact the right knowledge on students. So lastly, I believe there are many schools that I know, they have at least one department which involve instructional designers. Instructional designers can help lecturers which are subject matter experts. Lecturers are subject matter experts, and they are not, in many cases, required to be able to design lesson in a way that will impact the right knowledge of students. So this is the job of instructional designers, and they always work hand in hand with subject matter experts, which are lecturers or teachers. So if the school can establish just like I don't know, maybe it's going to be a department where instructional designers always work along with subject matter experts, I believe curriculum will be well implemented, and the impact of that will be seen on students and at the same time in the society. Thank you so much.
Yeah, most welcome, Dr. Abuasa. Like you heard from Prof. Ibino, he has always been doing that, even before coming to Summit. So I know currently there is a training department. They may have, it may not be exactly the way you want it. You mentioned it, but I believe that something like that is already existing in Summit University. Of course, like he actually mentioned, there will be room for improvement, and we can continue to improve. But I believe that is already existing, in my view. Prof. Amjeli is here. Okay, Prof. Prof. Yes. Walaikum salam.
Thanks for the presentation. It's very interesting. Jazakumullah khair. I just want us to. I want to share some of this personal experience, because when you are coming down to your country, you have all this hype, all this thinking that you want changes, you want to do this. But by the time you started coming through some of these obstacles, you are coming across them, you ask yourself, where am I, where do I find myself? how do I how do I do it? Okay,
Survive. Yeah.
okay, for instance, look at the NUC stuff. Even changing the curriculum of computer science to meet the standard, to meet the reality of the modern day is difficult, because the bunch of those who are coming to assess you during your accreditation or whatsoever, they don't even understand what you are doing. They just want to follow their BMAS as it is. And some of these universities, the student, the parent also, they already have this kind of mindset. They are going there just to get their certificate, just to get this. University have been trying to bring all this training, and that's another extra thing for the student besides the actual work. What they are graduating with is as old as before they were born, which is not even useful for them in the real market. And when you now even try to bring a project that is lively with them, that are supposed to be something that gives them the future, you see the attitude inside that you'll be disappointed. It's highly disappointing. Because the culture of ready to learn is becoming a fate. It's becoming something of the past among the current students we are having today. Though we find some of them that are very ready. The majority, as I will say, from my own observation, is they just want to come to university, get their certificate, and move. That's just the observation I have. May Allah just help us.
So thank you very much, Prof. I believe that you are right, 100%. There's nothing, but the reason why I started from foresight is to show us the challenges ahead of us. Nigeria as a country, even the leadership are confused now. You see, the rest of the world are talking about increasing their population. Nigeria is now doing family planning in 2022. And the president is begging all the time, change the curriculum, change the curriculum, change the curriculum. They are jittery, but we may not see it if we don't emphasize on this one. That's why I went into the media and highlighted all those areas. So the challenges is there. But if we can guarantee a trainee that will guarantee those students job, I think they may listen to us better. Like, if I train you with this method, you graduate. If you don't get a job in 6 months, call me bastard. Things like that. They will listen. That's what I'm thinking. So we need to really identify the core competence that we want and emphasize it. What we want the student to do when they graduate, let them do it when they are still in the university. That is what the medical school model is all about. So if you want to be a medical doctor, then you have to practice in school consistently. That is what it means. So I believe it is doable. Because we don't have time today, I have a lot of templates, experiential learning templates that we can actually look at. And for biological sciences, for microbiology, for entrepreneur, for different areas like that. So I know this is just the first time we are talking about this, and then we'll be taking it up from there. So thank you very much, Prof, for your contribution. Dr. Amit, I can see Dr. Amit Mishra. I think that is the only person left. Dr. Amit Mishra. Hello?
My own question is there on the chat box.
Okay, Prof. Dr. OLOWOLAYEMO. But the student handbook was given to us today, I think.
The question is about why can't we actually adopt the model of the medical school in other faculties?
Okay, yeah. For Faculty of Agric, you are from Faculty of Agric, so Agric Engineering, so you know. So you should have adopted it. The 4 people who destroy our country are the Faculty of Agriculture people, because originally the template of medical school is also implemented for faculty of agri, but we didn't implement it completely. That is the challenge. Okay, so if agri can go back like that, and computer science, for instance, because we know that the future of almost everything is AI, IoT, embedded system, and so on. So if computer science can be, I have a template for some of the agri, some projects that we can actually do in agri science too. So if we can have that kind of scenario, the second video, I sent 2 links. I sent 2 links. Please watch the second one at your own convenient time. Then you will realize what I mean. Computer science is more than just programming, Fortran, and all that now. And with Professor Musa Abinu's drone lab and so on, you know that already. So it's a thing that we know we have to take to the next level. We have to really work very hard. Okay, so some of the other courses need a lot of effort to mirror the medical school. Okay, take for instance, I can pick a few of them. Take Faculty of Education. Okay, education should be year 1, year 2, you are trained, and then year 3, 4, you have to be in school or Ministry of Education working, or adopting, like a university adopting some secondary school and primary school and actually mentoring them. That is the way it should be. For computer science, that's one, which I think if Prof is still around, for computer science, I'm hoping that all computer science faculties, especially like Summit, can get R&D centers in the university. If we have R&D centers in the university, so a computer science will work first year, second year as a normal student with streamlined curriculum, and then immediately they get to third year, they will be working in R&D centers. The R&D centers should be in different faculties so that you can be able to program farming or agri application, medical applications, stock market, accounting applications, and so on. So we need to put R&D centers in those places. Extreme programming, that you give them program that they can develop in 2 weeks. They have completed the project. That is what if we can do that for computer science, we will do a lot because they will collaborate with all the faculties. And when they meet economic students and they can work together, they will they will become partners, they will develop, they will have entrepreneurship, and so they will have their own business and so on. Same with, you go to medical school. When I went to medical school here and I discussed with people from dentistry, I also called a few friends in Nigeria. There's so many applications that are real life that nobody has done them. And if we can develop those things, train our students to do that, then we'll be able to. If you look at the video I showed, just pick an aspect of a farmer that can produce fruits under different conditions using AI. Ask our students, what are the requirements to be able to create that? And what are the components? What are the components that comes together to provide that kind of environment? How do they generate that? How do they program that? Then we start to know that is the future. But if they can see that future, they can now look at the obstacle on their way and the skill that they require. If they are able to accomplish any of those areas, then they know what we are doing. Otherwise, if we teach them Fortran, teach them basic and a little bit of Python towards the end of their program, and then they do some final year projects, they will not be able to connect the curriculum. Now we need to go to the future. Future studies, literacy, what is going to happen in the future? This is the future. And then we now divide them into components and say, if you pick this application, what are the components? And what do you need to get there? Then we know what to teach them. Otherwise, we will not know. This is my humble submission.